Hello and welcome to the Wedding Dish Podcast. Grab your fork and knife and take a seat at our table as we dish on all things weddings. You'll hear stories and tips from real couples and wedding pros about love, life, and entrepreneurship. I am Sarah Alapin, your hostess with the mostest on the Wedding Dish Podcast, and I'm also the CEO of Photos from the Hardy and District Bliss. Before we get started, if you haven't listened to last week's episode, it's super fun. It's all about whimsy and balloon art at your wedding. It's just a great episode. And today, we are dishing with an author, ghostwriter, speaker, counselor, and relationship specialist. His passion lies in unraveling the mysteries of love and relationships, digging deep into what makes them tick. Dr. Mark Hicks, thank you so much for joining me on the Wedding Dish today.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited for this conversation. It's going to be such a fun little deep dive.
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it. What are the 5 components of love that anyone can learn and practice to build a happy, healthy, thriving relationship regardless of their past experience?
Yep. This is what I write about in my book, Learning Love. Love is a learned skill set, and it does come together from 5 core components. Just quickly going through those. The first one is grief. Now that catches people off guard because we think we're going to talk about bubblegum and butterflies, everything's sweet and beautiful, and we get to that. Love is sweet and beautiful, but we don't get through life without scars. Everybody gets hurt along the way, and if we're not careful, we'll put up emotional barriers, we'll put up walls, thinking we're protecting ourselves, but what we're actually doing is building our own emotional prison, and we're keeping ourselves from having the connections we actually want. And so the way to overcome that is grief. Grief is that way of coming back from the tough times. It's going through that emotional process to get to a place we can move forward. We can't always fix the past. If we've been hurt, there might always be that emotional scar, but we can move on to a good life anyway. And that's the goal of grief. When we can do that, then we can get to the second component of love, which is emotion. That's the sweet and beautiful. That's what we're all looking for, is those emotional connections that we want in our life, that deep sense of love and appreciation and just wanting to be together. And that comes natural for some people. Other people have to work at it a little bit, and that's okay. I want people to know that it's okay to work at that, and it's a practice like any other. If you're a little reserved or you've been hurt along the way and you're a little scared to venture out there, it's okay to go slow, but we need to get to that place that we can have those emotions and share those emotions with the people we care about. Then there's the third component of love, which is practicality. Emotions bring us together. Practicality keeps us together. This is the way we live together well. These are the financial decisions we make, the parenting decisions we make, how to run the household, taking care of ourselves both physically and emotionally. Things like depression and anxiety, they take a big toll on us, but they also take a toll on our relationships. And those are treatable conditions. And so a practical reality is take care of yourself so that you can be there for those you love. The fourth component is acceptance, and this is about accepting ourselves. Brene Brown's done some great work on this. She's very noted for it. Other people have as well, showing that psychologically, you cannot love other people more than you love yourself. And we make a mistake when we try to get other people to love us in order to validate us so that we can appreciate and love ourselves. It sounds like a good plan, but it doesn't work. We actually have to love ourselves first. And then finally, the fifth component of love is passion. And this is about enjoying life. It's a passion for life. It's about remembering to have fun. Now, we know that life is serious, and that's why practicality is the third component. And life is tragic at times, and that's why grief is the first. But let's not forget that we need to have fun. So many times we get into the grind of life. We get the job, we go to school, we've got the kids, we got the house, we got all these things that we want in our life. And we get into that grind and we forget why we're doing all this. We're doing this to be happy, to have a healthy relationship, to enjoy our life with people we love. So remember to have fun. And that takes some practice sometimes because it's easy to just focus on negatives, to focus on the next thing on our to-do list, to focus on the job. Remember, look for the opportunities to laugh, look for the opportunities to have fun and enjoy that. And so now that's a very quick overview. And I go into all the how-tos and things like that in my book. But if you can grieve the tough times, You can connect emotionally. You live together well in a practical way, making good decisions. You love yourself first so that you can love other people, and you enjoy life and have a passion for life. You can build great relationships, even if you've come from a dysfunctional family, even if you've been through a divorce, even if you've had tough times, been through breakups, whatever your story is, love is that learned skill set. When you know these five components and put them into practice, you can build the relationships you want.
I love that. I Yeah, that's amazing. And you're so right. I agree with literally everything you just said.
It works.
How do you build trust when you've been hurt before?
That's a great question. And I always say that trust has to be both given and earned simultaneously. It's this little dance we do. Because if you go to an extreme, if you just throw open the doors of trust and trust blindly, you are going to get hurt. It's sad to say it, but there are people in the world that will take advantage of that and they will hurt you and they will see you coming when you are that person that just trusts blindly. And so you will get hurt. However, if you are hesitant to trust people, maybe because you've been hurt, and you want to watch them every second and verify everything, you're never going to trust them. Because even if they do everything right, you always go back to, well, if I wasn't watching them every minute, maybe they wouldn't. Trust has to be given in order to be earned, but it has to be earned in order to be given. And so it's this little dance that we do. We give enough of our trust in order to give a person a chance to earn it. And as they do that, we can give more. And that's really what dating is about. Of course, it's about a lot of other things too. But the core of really dating, if we intend to build a life with this person, is doing that dance of trust, learning to trust a person completely. And that takes some time. And occasionally people are going to they're going to mess up. We're going to make mistakes, and then we have to overcome that. We have to deal with that, and we may have to grieve that if we want to deal with that relationship, if we are going to continue that relationship. And as we do that dance of giving and earning trust simultaneously, and both people are doing this over time, it builds trust to a place that you truly do trust that person completely.
It sounds like such an awful life to not trust people when you're describing it. I mean, it just the level of anxiety that that would cause. I that would it's just so foundational in a relationship to be
Absolutely.
trusting of others. And I just I think that would be a really tough life to
It's
not.
it's absolutely necessary if you want to have a healthy relationship to have trust. And again, you want to go at a pace that is it can be earned along the way, but if you don't get there, if you don't get to a place of trust, you really cannot have a healthy relationship. It's a necessity.
Yeah, and including with yourself, it sounds unhealthy internally as well. Um, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see people make in relationships?
I think the number one mistake is that people overlook that fourth component of love, that self love. We are so driven to have relationships to validate us. And as I said, that sounds logical, but it actually doesn't work. Never does that work because there's no amount of validation that's going to fill that void if we don't love ourselves. When we love ourselves, we have the capacity to love others. And it's required to do that because love is not a commodity like money. If you need more money, you can get it a lot of places. Not easy, but you can get it. You can maybe work overtime at your job or get a second job or take out a loan or borrow money from a friend. Lots of ways to get money. But love is organic. It is grown within us. We can't just acquire it somewhere to give it away. It has to be grown within us. It is an organic process, and the first step of that is to love ourselves. You cannot love other people more than you love yourself. That's the capacity of love. It We fool ourselves into thinking we can, but it's actually not possible. That is going to be the limit. And so, if you want to have healthy, thriving relationships, start with yourself. People fall into the trap thinking, well, that'd be selfish. If I focus on myself, if I show compassion to myself, if I show self care and self love, that's going to be selfish. That I need to always focus on other people. That sounds again very logical. It doesn't work. We have to focus on ourselves in order to build that love within us, in order to give it away. It's not selfish, because the goal is to give it away to other people, the people we love, but we have to have it to give. In order to do that, we have to love ourselves. The biggest mistake, I think, is that people don't understand that, and they're looking for validation somewhere else. And that's a sadly a way to get hurt.
Yeah, I would imagine. And when is the right time if you, let's say, you're having trouble with any of these components? When is the right time to seek counseling to help with your relationship, whether that be your relationship with yourself or with your partner?
Every time is a good time to seek counseling. There is no bad time. And I say everyone should be in counseling, not just those having relationship problems. If you're having problems, absolutely get help. But I say everyone should be, because we go to a doctor for our physical health. We go to a dentist for our teeth. If our car is not running properly, we take it to a mechanic. We may even take it, most of us probably take it just to have the oil changed and things of that nature, just basic maintenance. We go to professionals. We hire lawyers, we hire plumbers. The list goes on and on of professional people that help us live our lives. Why would we do any different with our emotional health, our mental health, and our relationships? Our relationships are the key to happiness in life. If we want to have a happy, healthy life, we need it. We need it with our spouse, our significant other. We need it with our children, our parents, our families, our friends, our co-workers, loving what we do, loving life. This is about love in every area. And if we don't have that, then all these other things that we acquire aren't going to mean a whole lot. And so, why would we not get professional help when we get professional help in every other area? Get the help you need, find a relationship coach, find a counselor, find a therapist, find somebody. There's no bad time to do that, but especially if you're having problems, don't wing it. That's probably the second mistake people make, is they just do relationships as they've seen it done in their family. That almost never works. Maybe you're lucky and you came from an extraordinarily healthy family, but even if you did, every family is a little weird and quirky and odd in their own particular way. And it's charming, it's wonderful, it's fun, we love it. But then you go out and deal with people that come from their own unique brand of weird and quirky and odd. And sometimes it just doesn't work very well. And that's best case scenario. Other people come from dysfunctional families, toxic families, abusive families. Get help so that we're not dragging that same stuff from our family background. Even if it was a healthy family, those patterns that we think work that really don't work in the world with other people. Get help to build the relationships. There's nothing more important to a happy, healthy life, and so every time is a good time to seek counseling.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of mental health care
Hmm.
in general. And I think, it is something that really can drive a wedge between you and your partner, whether it be,
Yes.
you're struggling with something, or just that you don't know how to do something. I mean, even think about the basics. Like, I thought I knew how to cook. And then I met my husband who actually does know how to cook, and I did not know how to cook at all. I was using a bread knife for, like, everything.
Exactly. But, in your family it worked. That's how people cook, and that's a great example that we don't always know what we think we know. And the thing is, we go to school, trade school or college to learn how to do a job for a profession. If we take up a hobby, say if you decide to take up golf, it's very likely you'll go down to the golf course and hire the local pro to give you a few tips and have a lesson or two. We go get help to learn almost everything, but when it comes to relationships that are so important, we wing it. We think, oh, we'll just kind of do what we do. We'll do what our family did. And in actuality, it's a learned skill set like any other. Just like learning to cook, learning a hobby, learning your job, we have to put effort into that as well. Learn these five components of love and put them into practice and get help doing that where you need it. You can build healthy and happy lives, but if you're just winging it, it's probably not going to work very well.
Yeah, and there's a level of maintenance there too,
Absolutely.
like what you said with the car, you can't just change the oil once and then have, there are times you're gonna need a tune up, and I think it's really important to know that that exists too, that there is that support out there to get, to really like learn how to be in a happy, healthy relationship with yourself and with your partner as
Yeah.
well.
And you want it for a lifetime. You want these relationships to last. My book is called Learning Love. The subtitle is Building a Life That Matters and Healthy Relationships That Last. That's the goal. Is having that life, and that's not two different things. That's two sides of the same road. If you have healthy relationships that last, then you have a life that matters. You have a life that matters. It's because of the relationships in your life. And yeah, we have maintenance. We hear so many people when they've been married for 10 or 20 or 30 years say things like, well, you're just not the person I married. Well, with all due respect, that was inevitable. We do change over time. And if you were expecting that person to stay just as they were when you got married at 22 years old, that's just not realistic. And so we do have to navigate life together, and we have to tweak things, and we have to come to new understandings, and we grow and we help each other grow. And so there's all these things to do in relationships to build that happy life. And it takes work along the way, but it's not work that is a drudgery. I like to say things like, think about professional basketball players. They get into that flow. They can just put that shot up over and over, and it just goes in every time. It is just easy. They play the game, and it is easy for them. But they put work to make it easy. They put lots of practice and skills, and they had coaching. They had help. They developed their skills so that the game is easy. And so is marriage or love or relationships, is it hard or is it easy? It is easy, but we have to do the hard stuff to make it easy. We work hard, we build the skills, and then the game just flows.
I love that. Very well said. Do you have any final tips for couples who are preparing to embark on a lifelong relationship?
Understand, and this is going to sound I hope it doesn't come off too pessimistic, but understand, if you want to have a happy, healthy, thriving marriage, you have to beat the odds. Because just running the numbers, the divorce rate is about 50%, give or take. It varies over the years. But let's think about the people who do get married the first time and stay married. How many of them are happy? There are people that stay together, but they're not happy. They stay together for the kids, they stay together for money, they stay together for religious reasons, lots of other reasons besides actually being happily married. Well, I don't know how many of those people actually exist, but let's say maybe half of those marriages. So that would mean 75% of people either get divorced or want to be for some reason. And so understand you have to beat the odds. The next thing, though, is understand you can.
Yeah.
You can beat the odds. This is not this it doesn't have to be that way. These numbers, while they're kind of sad, don't have to be that way. It's because people are just winging it, or they're bringing their stuff from their family, or they just aren't looking at how to build it. They think if you love somebody and it's the right person, it just happens. No, it's easy because you work at it to get into that flow. You have to put the work into it. And so that's why I wrote the book, because I want people to have those thriving marriages. And there's other great books and seminars and all kinds of things out there. It's not just mine. There's lots of people. So go find them. Go find the help you need. Get the counseling you need. Go find the books and the YouTube videos and the things that you need to build the skill sets, because the numbers don't have to be this way. You can beat those odds, and we can have happy, healthy, thriving relationships. It is possible. And it's fun to create it in the process.
I love that. I love that. Yes. And I very much appreciate you joining me today on the wedding dish, Dr. Hicks. It has just been so lovely. This has been such a great conversation. I appreciate you sharing all of this insight and information with our listeners. Where can our listeners find you online?
Go to my website. It's markahicks.com. Make sure you get my middle initial in there. My last name is Hicks, markahicks.com. I have pre-orders available for my book. It comes out from Morgan James Publishing in June. It'll be available wherever books are sold, but pre-orders are available now, and there's easy links to pre-order the book. I also have a free ebook, The Five Components of Love, that will give a very brief overview, just as I've done today, of the five components of love, to give you a little pre-taste of the things I go into in the book, that I discuss in depth of all the how tos in the book Learning Love. I also have a podcast. I have a YouTube channel, and I have a contact form there because I'm available for speaking engagements, workshops, coaching, whatever people might like that I can be of service. Please contact me, or just let me know you saw me on the show today. I would love to hear from you.
I love it. And we'll link out to you in our show notes and episode description. So it's super easy for you all to find Dr. Hicks. And you can find our show notes with more information about Dr. Hicks at theweddingdishpodcast.com. And we'll, of course, share this on Instagram at the Wedding Dish Podcast there. Dr. Hicks, thank you so much for joining me today. This has just really, truly been an important conversation. And I really appreciate you being here today.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning into The Wedding Dish. And until next time, cheers.